He watches her pack. Every item folded with precision. Every movement screaming what her mouth stopped saying weeks ago. She turns to him one last time. Her eyes beg for something, anything. 3 words hover in his throat. They burn, they choke, they never come out. The door closes. He stands frozen in the silence that raised him. This is the story of how childhood survival tactics become adult relationship suicide. At 7 years old, with small hands gripping the edge of a kitchen table, his father's voice would fill every corner of their home. Not with words, with rage. The boy learned early that volume equals danger, that opinions have consequences, that existing loudly means existing painfully. His mother moved through the house like a ghost. She perfected the art of disappearing while still being present. She never told him to be quiet. She didn't need to. Her silence taught him everything. One wrong word, one complaint, one question at the wrong moment, and the table could flip. Plates would shatter. His father's anger needed no real reason. It just needed a release. So the boy discovered something powerful. When he made himself small, when he swallowed his words, when he became invisible, the storm passed over him. Silence wasn't just golden. Silence was armor. Silence was survival. He watched his older brother try the opposite, standing up, speaking back, defending their mother. Each act of courage was rewarded with escalation. The brother eventually left at 16 and never came back. The lesson carved itself into the boy's psychology with surgical precision. Your voice is dangerous. Your needs don't matter. Disappearing is safer than being seen. School became his second training ground. Teachers praised him. Such a quiet boy. So well behaved, never causes trouble. They had no idea they were celebrating his trauma response. He had opinions, he had questions, he had a whole universe inside his mind, but expressing it felt like standing in front of a loaded gun. So he smiled, nodded, and became whoever the room needed him to be. The teenage years brought new complications. Girls were attracted to his mysterious demeanor, mistaking his emotional paralysis for depth. They would share their feelings, pour out their hearts, and wait for him to reciprocate. He wanted to, but 15 years of conditioning doesn't evaporate just because someone looks at you with kind eyes. His silence made him seem intriguing. They tried to crack his code. They always failed, not because he didn't care, because caring out loud felt like suicide. His first serious relationship ended exactly how you'd expect. She was patient for 8 months. She created safe spaces, asked gentle questions. One night, she broke, tears streaming. She asked if he even loved her. He did, desperately. The words sat right there on his tongue, but 20 years of muscle memory locked his jaw. She left. He didn't blame her. You can't love a ghost, and here's where it gets twisted. He became successful. His career thrived. Colleagues valued his calm demeanor. His childhood wound became his professional superpower. Conflict avoidance, never showing weakness. The boardroom rewarded what the bedroom rejected. He started to believe maybe he was fine. Maybe silence really was strength. But the pattern repeated. Second, relationship. Third, fourth. Different women, same ending. I feel like I'm in a relationship alone. I can't read your mind. You never let me in. He heard them, he understood them, but he still couldn't change. The little boy inside him still believed that opening his mouth meant opening the door to chaos. His current girlfriend was different. She worked in mental health. She recognized his patterns. She named them: childhood, emotional neglect, intimacy, avoidance. She didn't diagnose to attack, she diagnosed to help. She held up a mirror, and for the first time in his 34 years, he saw himself clearly. The reflection terrified him. She tried everything: couples therapy, communication exercises, written letters when speaking felt too hard. She gave him 6 months. 6 months of trying to love someone who couldn't show her how. Last Tuesday, it ended, not with a fight, but with exhaustion. She sat across from him at their kitchen table. How perfectly poetic. Another kitchen table, another moment of reckoning. She said she couldn't do it anymore. That loving him felt like loving a wall. She wasn't angry. She was sad, defeated. I can't save you from your childhood, she said. Only you can do that. He wanted to scream. Wanted to tell her about the father who made words into weapons. About the mother who taught him that silence equals safety. About every moment his voice was punished out of existence. His mouth opened. Nothing came out, just like always. She kissed his forehead, whispered, "I'm sorry," and left. 3 days of numbness passed. Then, something cracked. He found himself in a therapist's office. Not because he became brave, but because he became desperate. The therapist asked one question: "What are you afraid will happen if you speak?" The answer came fast: "That I'll be too much. That I'll say the wrong thing. That I'll be abandoned anyway." The therapist nodded and said this: "You weren't learning to survive. You were learning to die quietly." That sentence detonated something. All those years he thought he was being strong, he was actually slowly disappearing. His silence wasn't a shield, it was a prison. One he built himself using his father's blueprints. The little boy had made a logical choice. But that boy was gone. The man remained, and the man had different options. Therapy wasn't magic. It was work. Hard work. Learning that his voice wouldn't cause explosions, that expressing his needs wasn't selfish. That conflict didn't equal catastrophe. His nervous system fought him every step of the way. But small victories started appearing. He told a friend he was upset and survived it. He disagreed with his boss, and the world didn't end. He wrote a letter to his ex. Not to get her back, but to finally give her the truth. He wrote about his father. About the fear. About how her love terrified him. About how sorry he was. He mailed it with no expectation of a response, just needing her to know she wasn't crazy. She wasn't asking for too much. She wrote back 3 weeks later. She said she appreciated his honesty. That she hoped he healed. That she couldn't come back but was proud he was trying. That was enough, because for the first time, someone knew him, really knew him, and didn't hate him for it. 6 months into therapy, he's different. Not fixed, but different. He catches himself going silent during conflict. Sometimes he still does, but now he notices. Now he can say, "I'm shutting down because I'm scared." Those words feel like jumping off a cliff, but he survives the landing every time. He's not ready for another relationship. Maybe he won't be for a while. That's okay. He's learning something more important first. How to have a relationship with himself. How to listen to his own voice. The boy who learned to stay silent to survive is slowly learning something new. That survival and living are not the same thing. If you recognize this story, if you see yourself in this silence, if you learned that your voice was dangerous, your needs were burdens, and your feelings were threats, know this: you are not broken. You adapted. You survived. That little kid inside you made the best choice available at the time. But you're not that kid anymore. You have options now. Different choices. Better choices. If this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment and tell me what silence taught you to survive. And remember, the voice that was silenced is still there. It's just waiting for your permission to speak. Your childhood shaped you, but it doesn't have to script your future. The boy learned silence. The man can learn his voice. That's the real survival story. Thanks for watching.